I'm just going to call the regular land use council meeting to order. And first item on our agenda, would someone like to move forward the recommendation on 1? Is there any discussion on that recommendation? Then all those in favor, opposed, carried. We have number 2 in the Fleetwood-Guildford area.
Move plan recommendations on 2.
Second.
Is there any discussion or questions? All those in favor, opposed, carried. In Newton, number 3.
Madam Chair, this is a denial.
It is a denial, and I was wondering if the applicant is present. The recommendation from our planning department is to deny this application, but we do give an opportunity for the applicant to come forward if they want some discussion on that denial. Is there anyone here that's representing this application? I don't see anyone at this time. What I might do is just to table it for now, and we'll come back in case people are just running a few minutes late. We'll move on to number 4.
Move planning recommendations on 4, Madam Chair.
Second.
Is there any questions? And all those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move the recommendation on number 5.
The 19 townhouses in East Clayton.
Second.
Second.
On the zoning bylaw, move first. Sorry.
Is there a seconder?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Is there...
Move the zoning bylaw first.
Okay. Seconder?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move second.
Second.
And all those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move the public hearing set for Monday, June 23rd.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? And carried. The recommendation on 6.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Number 7. The recommendation on 7. 36 townhouses. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Under the zoning bylaw, move first.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Move second.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move public hearing be set for Monday, June 23.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. So number 8.
Move planning recommendations on 8.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
On the zoning, move first.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move second.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move public hearing be set for Monday, June 23rd.
And all those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move the recommendations on number 9.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. On number 10, this is 6 single-family residential lots. Someone's recommendation.
Move the recommendation on number 10.
Second.
All those in favor of the recommendation? Opposed? Carried.
On the land use contract, move first.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move second.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move public hearing set for Monday, June 23rd.
Second.
And all those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
On the zoning bylaw, move first.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move second.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move public hearing set for Monday, June 23rd.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. So
Move the recommendation on number 11.
Second that.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And number 12, the variance permit for 49 single-family homes.
Move planning recommendations on 12.
All those in favor?
Second.
Opposed? Carried.
On the zoning, move first.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move second.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move public hearing be set for Monday, June 23rd.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Number 13.
Move the recommendations on 13.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
On zoning, move first.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move second.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move public hearing be set for Monday, June 23rd.
Second.
And all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. So I'll go back to number 3. I was wondering if the applicant is here for number 3 on the permit of the continued operation of an unauthorized outdoor RV and boat storage facility for a period not to extend 3 years. Are you the applicant? You could come forward. Thanks. Our planning department has a denial on this application, so if you'd like to present your case.
Yes,
you can
hi.
just give your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Robert Galichin. I live at 2450 204th Street in Langley. I'm also the owner of the property to the immediate north of the subject property, and my daughter Jennifer Wilderman is the owner of the subject property.
Okay.
So it's all in the family. So my reasons for wanting to get to a TUP would be that the properties that are surrounding me are typical of actually the same type of activities to some extent that I'm currently doing, being in character with the neighborhood. For example, the golf course to the east of me is on ALR land, and they are doing a golf course. The 3 acreage properties that basically are indicated as A1 on your view there, plus the 2 acreage parcels to the south of it, are also owned by one family. And that particular family grouping is doing an industrial type of operation, have been doing so for about 30 years. As the owner of 7979 to the north of the subject property, I've been the owner there for 21 years. And we found that actually the owner of the 3 acreage parcels that is doing the industrial type of operation has been doing in a very quiet manner, non-disturbing manner, has been in place since actually all the subdivision to the south of him was put in place. And he's had no complaints from me as a neighbor, and vice versa. I've had no complaints from him as a neighbor. It's a very unusual piece of property in the sense that we are at the end of the road at 148th Street. I noticed that one of the objections, in fact, that was noted was that there's a gateway across the end of 148th Street for some of the neighbors that were unable to actually get down to view the subject property.
We're just wondering, I'm sorry, we're having just a little bit of difficulty hearing you clearly.
Okay.
Can you raise the mic or speak closer to the mic?
Okay, let me try that, see if that'll work better.
Thank you.
So that would be the gateway. That was actually put in place by the city of Surrey about, I'm going to guess, about 30 plus years ago, and actually maintained by the city of Surrey. It was put in place by them to facilitate at the end of that roadway, which is a continuation of 148th Street. If the gateway was not put in place, that 148th Street does not have a cul-de-sac facility, and actually there's a severe drop-off at the end of the road, which would be a very dangerous situation. So the city has actually put that in place, and I noticed that on the neighborhood objections that this was one of the issues, thinking that it was the resident that put this gateway in place, which in fact it wasn't. One of the other aspects that I'm finding as well is that the storage lot that I have actually facilitates a lot of the needs of what I find Surrey residents are going through right now, which is that to declutter their properties and such and their driveways. They either have cars or a boat or an RV, and an RV wouldn't fit in the garage even if they were to somehow make it work. Plus the size of the lots now make it extremely difficult for all the cars to park, and if you have extra cars, where do they go? And I don't find that actually that my property is actually looked as a industrial operation. In fact, most of my vehicles or items that are there actually don't have engines. They're basically RVs that are trailer units as such, and the vehicles that I do have in place are cars or pickup trucks. There's no commercial trucks allowed on the property, and I have a contract with everybody that comes in. The hours of operation are from 8 in the morning to 8 at night. So there's limited hours that they can get in for access for the property. And like I said, I keep a very clean operation that doesn't offend the neighbors. This only came to light because of the fact of one of my tenants that I had to evict with RCMP being present. And that was the reason that this whole process actually got notification by the bylaw people. Because again, my neighbors have been very good, and vice versa we to them with the type of activities that we've been doing. I would think that would be everything I have to say at this point, unless you have some questions for me.
Thank you. Councillor Haynes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You've been operating this business since 2010, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. And have you had a business license in any of that time?
No, I haven't, but I would be willing to get one.
Okay. And going for a TUP is a 3-year thing. What would you be planning to do after the 3 years?
I have had some discussions with the City of Surrey and the Parks Department. They showed an interest in actually purchasing part of the property for the Bear Creek that runs through it. When I had that discussion with them, which was at the end of this past year, they indicated that they didn't have money in the budget. There is a desire for me to sell to them. Unfortunately, they don't have the urgency to buy from me. So what I would try to do, I've actually come up with a revised plan that would even be more comprehensive and I think very much attractive to them. I've got a copy of that plan if you wanted to display it on one of your overheads. If you wanted to see it, I do have it with me tonight to show you to the extent of what I would be looking to do. And once that would facilitate, if they would purchase that property from me, that would basically be the end of my storage operation. It would cease at that point.
I see. So, so you want to continue on sort of the illegal use of the non-compliant use of the site until such times as the city buys your property.
That would be correct. I'd like to pursue the rezoning aspect to it because, again, like I said, my neighbor has been in the business and very much to my acceptance to it as a neighbor of his. He's been doing it for about 30 years. And certainly for me and his, it's very much more of an industrial operation. I would certainly look at mine as pretty much more of a commercial type of operation where it's, again, I have no oil tanks, diesels, none of that type of vehicles. I don't have bobcats, excavators, dump trucks or any of those things that are on my property such as my neighbor has had for the last 30 years.
I see. Okay. Thank you.
Councillor Zodi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of questions. Have you, since the time you've been there, done anything to mitigate sort of runoff into Bear Creek?
That's a question actually that's taken me by surprise because there is no runoff. I would say that it would be pretty much like if you had a car or a boat or an RV that was parked in any one of your yards. What would any one of us do to facilitate runoff from any of those? I mean, there just isn't anything in an RV that there is to run off. So like I said, the question has actually taken me a bit by surprise, to be honest with you.
And to clarify, just further to Councillor Haynes' comment, so since 2010, you've made no attempt to either properly zone the property or look for providing this service in an area that's properly zoned for this type of use?
Sorry, could you repeat the whole thing again, please?
Have you tried to relocate your business? Have you considered relocating your business to an area that actually allows this use?
No, I hadn't. In 2010, I think I had about 3 vehicles on the property, 3 to maybe 10 vehicles on the property, depending on what time of the year it was. So it was a very small operation at that point.
Okay. And again, recognizing that you are providing valuable service, however, I've been quite consistent around the use of temporary, maintaining the integrity of the word temporary, and I just don't see anything in your plan that would lead me to believe that this is of temporary in nature at all. Okay.
Well, I think that with my intention to pursue the bigger scope of what I have for the Parks Department, I certainly look at it that I would be willing to look at a 3-year period of time as my only period of time available.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gill.
Just a point of clarification to staff. I understand the business to the immediate south or the property to the immediate south has a business license for general contracting. Just in the context of the current use, if I could have staff just provide some clarity in terms of what we are looking to do at that site as well.
Madam Chair, through you to Councillor Gill. The property to the south has a home-based business license, which allows him to have an office at his home, but the current situation with parking exceeds the allowance under that business license.
And may I understand just from staff that in fact bylaws is currently looking at that site as well? Is that fair to suggest?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Morton.
Through staff, could you tell me how many vehicles are now currently parked on this site?
It's approximately 60.
60.
Yes.
Thank you.
Councillor Hebner.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Is it a monthly fee that people pay for the storage of the vehicle on this site?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please?
Is there a monthly fee, or how do people pay for the
Yes.
utilization of this site?
Yes, there is a monthly fee.
And do they access their vehicles? Do they come and potentially wash their vehicles on the site?
I have actually a storage contract that I also can provide for you to look, and it has terms and conditions. And on it, there is no facilities for washing allowed on the property, as well as about 16 other items of things that they're not allowed to do. For example, no motor repairs, no car repairs, no mechanical repairs of any sorts are allowed on the property. The property time frame is only from 8 in the morning to 8 at night for access. Otherwise, they can't get in, even though the gate is left. It's not a locked gate, but I get basically where I have very respectful tenants that basically honor the system.
It sounds to me, sir, that you have done a lot of work in terms of actually making this into a business, and I'm astonished that given the amount of work that you've done contractually to say this is what I expect of you as someone who's going to store your vehicle here, that it would not trigger that you should have a business license to do such a thing.
That's a good question.
Yes, it is.
I think that Councillor Hepner was asking why you have not applied for a business license when you're handling your operation in such a business-like way. Do you have an answer for that?
Actually, within a year or a year and a half of actually purchasing that, or my daughter purchasing that property, there was an intention, and it was actually on the market for sale. So we really didn't expect that the house would actually still be in the family at this point in time. It's actually looking to for us to see again, like the focus on it right now is trying to approach the city again to seeing whether or not they'll buy a more comprehensive part of the property. And again, I can show that overhead, or I can show that layout if you're inclined to look at it.
I guess what our council needs to know is your intentions if the city doesn't buy the property. Are you intending to vacate this site of vehicles within 3 years if there is a temporary use permit?
Yes, if in fact there's a 3-year term that's given, that would be all that I would expect, and not anything further than that, and would be willing to sign off on that condition.
Okay. So are there any other questions from council at this time? No. Then would they like to put a motion forward, council members? Is there a motion coming forward?
Denial.
Okay. Denial. Is there a second to denial?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion?
No.
Then all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Council supporting the staff's recommendation. So you'll have to be discussing where you're at with staff now to deal with the fact that the permit is not going to be issued. Thank you for your presentation, though. We appreciate it. Okay. So where are we at here now? So then we'll just continue with our agenda. We have the bylaws at final adoption to deal with. And so can I have a motion on number 1 for final adoption with the resolution beforehand?
We have an item C, Madam Chair.
Did I miss that? C?
Yeah.
The item referred back. Sorry about that. The report back then to council. Can I have a recommendation on that? This is on 25th A Avenue.
Madam Chair, I'll move to get it on the table, but I do have a question.
Okay. Is there a seconder to bring it on the table? Okay, Councillor Hain, you have some questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm wondering about the reduction in the habitat corridor of 18%, and just wondering from planning through you, Madam Chair, to staff, what kind of impact that'll have on that corridor, on the habitat corridor, and whether that's going to have sort of negative implications down the road with its intended use. And I also have questions regarding the subject properties to the north of that, but I'll just start with that one.
Through you, Madam Chair, to Councillor Hain. The 18% refers to a reduction in both the habitat corridor and the road allowance. So prior to the NCP amendment, there was a 20-meter habitat corridor width and a 20-meter road allowance width. The reduction is going from 20 meters to 17 meters for the habitat corridor, but there is some overlap with the road cross-section on 166th Street. So the boulevard area on 166th Street will also assist in keeping the integrity of the habitat corridor intact at the original intent.
Excellent. And Madam Chair, as a follow-up to that, and is that going to have any negative implications as well on the subject properties to the immediate north of or the properties to the immediate north of the subject development? Because there was talk there of making that a transitional area between the north side of, on the north side of 26th Avenue versus the south side.
We currently have a development application on the property to the north, and we are currently exploring the same cross-section, and the issue of the land use will be dealt with at the same time.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions? Yes, Councillor Hepner.
Thanks. Thank you, Madam Chair. So this addresses the issue that was raised at the public hearing relative to the equity in terms of the road. It has been realigned and moved off that one particular property to the degree that it is now would be considered equitable?
Staff are satisfied that the solution, that the road is split equally, the corridor and the roadway are split equally between this application and the lands to the west. So yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions on this report? Then all those in favor of receipt? Opposed? Carried. So then we'll move on to...
So, Madam Chair, on the OCP, move third reading.
You have to move.
Second. Is there a seconder?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed?
On
Carried.
the zoning, the third.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And move that the development variance permit be supported.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay. Move on to the bylaws and final adoption then. Can I get a motion on one?
Pass a resolution amending the East Panorama Ridge Local Area Plan.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And move final adoption.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Number two.
Move adoption. Pardon me. Move final on 2.
Second. All
On the
those
bylaw?
in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And on the second bylaw, move final.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And move on the third bylaw, move final.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And on number 3, pass a resolution amending the Newton Local Area Plan.
Second.
Okay. Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And move final adoption.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. So clerk's report, approval of development variance permits.
Move 1A. Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move 1B.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move 1C.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move 1D.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move 1E.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move 1F.
Second.
Opposed? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. formal issuance of development permits on 2A.
Move 2A.
Second.
All those in favor, opposed, carried.
Move 2B.
Second.
All those in favor, opposed, carried.
Move 2C.
Second.
All those in favor, opposed, carried.
Move 3A.
Second.
All those in favor, opposed, carried.
Move 3B.
Second.
All those in favor, opposed, carried.
And move adjournment.
Second on adjournment.
All those in favor, opposed, carried. We're adjourned.